Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're not sick of me yet because today is yet another day of drugstore week and I decided to go all out today and do a semi-cut crease. You all know that I very rarely, if ever, do cut creases because I think they're not very flattering on my eyes because I tend to get this weird double fold or crease on my eyes, making a cut crease look kind of wonky. But I managed to pull together this look for you guys after several failed attempts. I've been sitting here for about 4 hours now and I was determined to get this video done, so make sure to give it a like if you enjoy it, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button before watching today's video, and let's get started. Today we are starting off with the eyes because I'm going to be using a lot of black eyeshadow. So to start, I'm going to use the foundation that I'm going to be using on the rest of my face. It's the MILANI Conceal Plus Perfect 2-in-1 foundation, and I'm only applying it to the brow bone, the inner corners of the eyes, and the outer corners, but not the eyelid, because I'm gonna go back in with that foundation later to cut the crease. So I'm just applying this and blending it out, and then I'm gonna set the brow bone down to the crease with this number 7 translucent loose setting powder. Of all the ones that I purchased, this one is my favorite so far, which is why I am using it again in today's tutorial. I also lightly dusted over my brows with that powder to soak up any oil or any foundation that might cause the eyebrow pencil to slip before filling in my brows. So now I'm just using the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer to further define and shape out my brows before going in with eyeshadow. And while I'm filling in my brows, I just want to say I'm sorry if the background music has been really low in my past 2 videos. I'll turn it up on this video so that it's not really awkward and quiet during these parts where I'm not talking. But moving on to the eyes, I've already done one side to save us some time, and I'm going to be using the Maybelline The Nudes palette, the original one, to create this smoky cut crease. So I'm starting off with this first color as a transition shade, and I'm starting off pretty high, like right above the crease, and just really lightly blending that in all the way across from the inner part of the brow all the way to the end. Then I'm going to go in with this darker taupey shade. I'm sticking with all cool tones for this look, and I'm going to start deepening up the crease, mainly on the outer V. I'm not going to bring this really dark color towards the inner part of the eye. I want most of the color to be smoked out towards the outer V portion of the eye. Alright, so this is how I cut that crease. I went back in with that foundation that I first applied to my eyes as a base, and the same foundation I'm going to be using on my skin. And I'm using a really large and stiff concealer brush. I recommend going with a smaller brush. It was kind of hard to work with this one, but I was too lazy to swap out the brushes and I was determined to make this one work, so I just stuck with it. I'm working in small little strokes until I get that really defined cut crease that I want. And once I reach to the end and the outer V, I flipped the brush and cut the crease going the other direction. And I did end up using a lot of foundation, so I just used my beauty blender to pick up the excess product and really pat it in so that we wouldn't get any creasing later. And then I just used that same number 7 translucent powder to set from the inner corner to about halfway across the lid. I didn't want to pack that powder onto the outer V because I knew I was going to be going in with a black eyeshadow and I wanted it to go on as dark as possible. So I'm just going in with the black shadow from the Nudes palette and really packing it onto that outer V closest to the lash line, and then just really smoking it out. And to further blend out that black eyeshadow, I picked up some more of that darker taupey brown eyeshadow and used that to buff it into the crease. And I decided to go with a matte inner corner highlight. You can go more shimmery, but I thought I would try something different and create a completely matte eyeshadow look. Remember in my previous video from this week, I was asking all of you for a good recommendation for a liquid drugstore eyeliner? Well, I completely forgot I even had this one. This is the L'Oreal Voluminous Liner Noir, and I actually really like this one. I found it super easy to use, especially with how fine the tip is, and it goes on super black and dries down pretty matte, as you can see from the other side. But I'm still going to be checking out all the ones that you guys recommended. Thank you so much for doing that. You guys are the best. From here, I just wanted to further cut the crease on the inner part of the eyes, so I picked up that dark taupey brown and a small brush to just further define the inner part of the cut crease. And to complete the eyes, I just popped on a pair of ARDEL DEMI Wispies, still my favorite, and coated them in Big Shot Mascara by Maybelline. Moving on to the skin, I wanted to create a full coverage, so I'm going back in with that same combo I used in a previous video. I'm using the MILANI foundation mixed with the L'Oreal Magic Lumi Primer, and I decided to use a kabuki brush this time to just really buff it in and create a fuller coverage, but I'm still going in with my sponge afterwards to further blend it out. The sponge, by the way, is by Ofra. I'm not sure the exact name of it. And then I'm just going in with the lightest shade of the MILANI foundation to conceal and highlight down the center of the face. Before setting with powder, I'm just picking up any excess creasing with that same sponge, and then I'm using the No. 7 translucent powder again and a small eyeshadow blending brush to buff it into the areas of my face that crease and get product buildup. I also dust it around my lips. It really helps keep your lipstick in place and prevent it from bleeding out, especially on the outer corners, which happens to me a lot. And then I'm taking a large fluffy brush and dusting the powder everywhere else. And now that everything is set in place, I can go ahead and bronze using the Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. I still can't handle the fragrance, so I'm going to take someone's tip and leave it open overnight, and hopefully it fades away just a bit. And I'm applying it to the general areas, kind of contouring with it, also applying it to the sides of the nose. It has a shimmer to it, but not one that is obvious. It almost looks matte on the skin, but dimensional, if that makes sense. And then from there, I'm just going back to the lower lash line to complete the eyes. I'm first applying the darker taupey brown to further smoke out the eyes, keeping most of the color towards the outer V and not bringing it in towards the tear duct. And I'm also using the smallest amount of the black eyeshadow and a tiny brush to just further define and smoke out the lower lash line. And then from there, I'm just blending everything out. Sorry, the mirror got in the way for this one. For blush, I'm using Romantic Rose by Milani. It's more towards the cool side, so it really complements the eyes and also the lip that I'm going to be applying in just a bit. And to set everything in place, I'm using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Setting Spray. I do this before highlighting to further intensify the highlight, so right when it's almost done drying, I go in with the powder highlight. This one is Milani's DAYGLOW Strobe-Light, and I'm just lightly patting it onto the high points of the cheeks, bridge of the nose, cupid's bow, and chin. I decided to skip the brow bone, inner corners, and the temples for today's look. My brows tend to be a little crazy, so I'm just setting them in place with my Maybelline Brow Drama Clear Brow Gel. I'm applying that same Big Shot mascara to my lower lashes, again doing the trick where I use a clean spoolie to just lift the lashes so they're not touching my skin, and then I use a translucent powder to just set the tips so that it doesn't transfer onto my foundation. And for the lip, I went super nude, but I had to mix two in order to create a dusty rose color. I'm mixing Nude, Embrace, and Hot Sand by Maybelline. Both are completely matte, which for me, I always prefer a glossy nude lip, so I'm just adding a little bit of Shine Shot gloss to the center of the lips. Alright guys, that completes today's video, and one quick tip before I head out, because I know some of you might ask about my hair. The way I get it to look like this is I literally do this motion, grab some hairspray and do this. And that's all that there is to it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye guys.